This bike has the craziest looking suspension design I've ever seen. It's one of the heaviest bikes that I've ever weighed, yet somehow it's one of the best enduro bikes that I've rode lately. Woo! This is the Polygon Collosus N9, and pay close attention guys, because I'm gonna break down how I went from doubting this bike to being completely blown away with just how good this thing rides. I mean, when you look at this thing online, you're looking at the specs that it comes with, you're looking at the geometry chart, and all those numbers just kind of left me feeling like I might be let down with this bike. I mean, it's got some super slack geometry. You can see the front end there is like way raked out with a 63.5 degree head tube angle. It does have that nice steep C-tube angle. However, the weight on this bike, with just it weighing over 42 pounds combined with that slack geometry, these big, super grippy, knobby tires, I just thought this bike was gonna ride like a fat, slow pig. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Woo! And I think it all comes back to this crazy looking suspension design. So come on, get in a little bit closer, let's take a look at this. You see, this is Polygon's IFS, or independent floating suspension design. It's a 6-bar suspension design. So on Polygon bikes, you usually see what they call their faux bar or their 4-bar suspension design, which just has this upper link. It's pretty standard what you see on most bikes, to where it has a link that drives the shocks, and then there's a single pivot point right down here at the bottom. But on this 6-bar suspension design, you got just a little bit more going on, because what you have is these additional short links down here, these 2 counter-rotating short links that allow Polygon to independently tune that rear wheel path and that leverage ratio on that rear shock. But what does that mean out on the trail? Now, if you guys have watched my videos before, you guys will know that I don't hold back. I don't feed you guys any bullshit. Bikes Online sent me this bike, but they didn't give me any stipulations. They simply said, Jared, take this bike on a ride, do some videos for your viewers, tell them how you like this thing, how it rides. If you guys want to check out the link below in the description, it does help the channel out. But to be completely honest with you, I don't think you guys could appreciate how awesome this bike is unless you took it out for a ride yourself. You see, I had all those doubts when looking at this bike online about how this bike was going to perform out on the trail. But this thing really climbed great. Even when I was cranking it out, I had great pedal efficiency, super stable platform, all due to that independent floating suspension that Polygon claims will give you the best riding performance. And I kind of have to agree with them after riding this bike so far. Although I do think there's one other thing that really makes this bike ride so damn good, which is the suspension. This beefy Fox 38 fork and this Fox Float X2 rear shock. I mean, that's the type of suspension other people are upgrading their bike just to be able to get, which definitely helps when you're pedaling uphill, when you're smashing downhill, and even when you're popping over those jumps. But Jared, you still got that 42-pound weight penalty. So how in the hell are you getting airborne on this bike? Well, you guys, that's where I was really surprised. You see, this bike is actually super easy to jump, super easy to throw around, super easy to get airborne. And that really surprised me, because a big, beefy enduro bike like this with 170 mils of travel front and rear, 42 pounds worth of weight, those massive 2.6 enduro style tires on the front and on the back, it really just shouldn't be that easy to pop off of jumps. But I even took this thing down to the bike park like you see right there and was having a ton of fun whipping this thing around, and kids on their dirt jumpers were coming up to me, just couldn't believe that I was riding this super heavy enduro bike there and clearing these doubles. But there still are some definite things about this bike that I would change, especially if I was going to keep this bike for a longer period of time, starting with the brakes. Now, I'm not trying to hate on SRAM brakes. Any of you guys out there, leave a comment below if this pisses you guys off, but the SRAM Code R brakes I've had nothing but problems with these brakes on this bike and other bikes that I've rode in the past. When I first dropped in on this black diamond trail that I was riding on this bike, the brake levers just went straight to the bars, no stopping power whatsoever. I was able to adjust the levers a little bit right there.
All right, let's try that. It's kind of hard to get going and trust the speed when your brakes aren't biting. All right.
It does have the reach adjustment on there. That did help give them just a little bit of stopping power, but on other brakes I've rode in the past, on the TRPs, on Shimano's, even on the Tram Code RSC brakes, I've never had these issues before. I've never had so many issues getting brakes to just work properly right out of the box. So the brakes is definitely something that I would change on this bike. But there's two other things I would do to this bike. First of all, this bike comes with tubes in it. It doesn't even come tubeless ready. So I would yank out those tubes, throw some rim tape in there, put in some tubeless valve stems, probably some of the oil slick ones from Trail 1, and I would also add some other cool oil slick parts from Trail 1, like maybe that Trail 1 Rockville stem, the Trail 1 Crockett bars. And if you guys want to see what that would look like, check out this video right here and check that link in the description. I got a 35% discount for Trail 1. It helps support the channel and it saves you guys a little bit of money as well.